So welcome to the first training video for LumaPro. So let's make the assumption that you've got LumaPro and you want to take your first photo shoot. I will walk you through some of the basics of shooting it, and then there'll be other videos that walk you through some more of the fine details. So I've got myself sitting over here on the left-hand side, and my alternate Avi Angora, which I use for a lot of testing and photo shooting, off on the right. And we're in this interesting little sim over in China that is real interesting black and white. So I got her dressed up in some black and white outfits, and let's take some photos. So when you get your LumaPro, um, it's going to come to you in a package. And the only thing you need to do is to wear the LumaPro when it gets in here. I've got a bunch of these sitting in here because I'm the developer of it. But here is the LumaPro as it comes up on the screen up on the left. So the first thing I want to make sure everyone is aware of is there's a power button. And one of the requests on the power button, as soon as you press the power button, the HUD minimizes. So what you'll see is the power when you press the power button, the HUD goes away. There's a little white dot that remains, and that's how you turn it back on. So if you get lost, this is how you turn it back on. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is to give some lights to the model. And so the lights are what this HUD controls. So we say give lights, and it radars in, and I'm going to give a set to Angorian. And then I'm going to go over to Angorian's screen here somewhere. Oops, and I say keep. And then I have her wear the lights here. And I'm back here, and you'll see she's wearing lights. Um, if you just want to shoot, all you got to do is turn the power on and off, and the lights go away. Photo, click, 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 and then you turn the lights back on and make some adjustments. For these lights to work, a couple things is usually helpful. One is just while we're seeing it, let's just go to midnight. Boom, like that. And we'll also pick one of the default settings. Butterfly or Rembrandt is one of the quick and easy default settings. And I press butterfly, it centered the lights, and notice the lights turned on. Now, one of the things that's real important is press Control P for preferences. And if you don't see the lights turn on, you need to go hit preferences, go to the graphics tab, and make sure that you're set to at least mid, high, or ultra. Mid typically works fine. I tend to use high. At minimum, this is real important. You can also hit the custom tab, and you need to make sure the local nearby lights or nearby local lights is turned on. If you don't do that, then you have no lights for me to control. So now we have a set of lights here, and if you want to see the value of the lights, you can actually take the intensity of the lights and turn them down, and you can see how the lighting on her face changes with the intensity off versus, say, the intensity on. Okay. I personally am a fan of the rim bright lighting that actually moves the lights a little off center to her face. It creates a bit of shadow over in here, so now I can go ahead. I could turn the power off. I could do some I could take some photographs just like this. Turn the lights back on, and we can make some changes. Next thing we can do is we can pose her. So I can independently pose two models. I will say model 1, Angorian, and I need to go over to Angorian and accept the animation. You'll just have to ask your model to do that, and then I can just pick a pose. The LumaPro is loaded with default poses. These are demo poses from in Limbo. Shannon is a very good friend of mine and donated these poses to this thing. And also there's a link in the help button that sends her off to her store if you'd like to get some more poses. Now, once you have picked a pose, you can go back in and pick another pose if you are so motivated. Your other option is to push the little wheel that I have over here, which then just effectively slides you through the poses. Now, running poses with lights on is kind of interesting. It's better to turn the power off. You'll actually see a very lightly gray button, which is the next pose button. This allows you to actually run through the various poses that exist for this model. We can also go in very specifically and find the pose that we're looking for here. Like this particular pose is one of my favorites here. And I can turn the lights off and get the poses that I want. Notice what's interesting is that she's actually walking during this pose. And if I turn the lights on, you can actually see that the lights move with her as she moves around. So this is an advantage over, say, resing prim lights where this wouldn't happen. Okay, so let me put her into a fairly static pose so she doesn't move around. I have a pose in my set called Adjust Lights, and it's just a nice freeze them in place pose so we can do some training discussion on here. Now, If I want to change any of the parameters of the red, green, or blue light, there's these parameters: color, intensity, radius, fall off, alpha, and the save restore. You can do these for the red light, the green light, the blue light, or white is the sum of all of them. So, or you can do it to the white light. So let's say, for example, we want to change the color of this light. I can just go to the white color button, and let's make it sepia. Now, if you notice, the light became more of a sepia color. Let me zoom in on her, and we can set it to a cooling color, and you can see how the light changed based on what we picked. Let's go back to white for now here. The other thing I can do is change the intensity of the light. I can change all of the intensities. Let's say I can take it down. I can set the intensity to 0 and just turn the lights off, or I can set the intensity all the way on, or I can actually, let me set the intensity down off. I can turn on, for example, the red light only on her face here, which is this light here, and then I can turn on the green light a little bit stronger, and you can see that creates this accent on her ear and her shoulder. Let me turn that green light on and off again so you can see that. Green light off, the accent goes away. Green light on, the accent is here. And the last light I typically use the blue light kind of to light the outfit, and I can set the color intensity, oops, wrong button here, press the intensity of the blue and light her outfit a bit more. Okay. The next thing we can do is, now that we've got some colors, we can turn the lights off. We can pick some poses again and send her off for some nice photography here. All right, so let's take a look at now turning the lights back on. I'm going to go back to that pose, that adjust lights pose here. The next thing we can do is we can actually adjust the positions of these balls. We don't have to just pick the two default ones, which are the butterfly straight on and the Rembrandt off. We could take the balls and put them wherever we want. If we treat them as balloons, what we're effectively doing is we're going to pinch these balloons and pluck them a little bit. So for example, if I want to move this red light up, I'm going to go to the top of the light and just touch the top of it, and the red light went up. If I wanted to move the red light down, I would go to the bottom of the ball and touch the bottom of the ball, and it's kind of like pinching it. It would bring the light down. If I want to bring the light closer to her, I would touch the part of the ball that's closest to her, and I can get that light into a really close position. And what happens is when the light is in a very close position like that, you end up with a very different lighting. So next button is the restore button. I can actually hit the save on white, and then I could actually go back and compare it with some of the default lighting, like the Rembrandt light here. You can see what that light looks like versus hitting the restore button, which moved that light about quite a bit closer. Okay. So then we can go ahead and hit the poses, and we are off to the races with LumaPro. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to be around to help y'all. Talk to you later.